Nothing says prosperity like walls crumbling down.
你看这刚嘎工程一桶一掉。完了。哎，地这个路上。
Roads broken after rainfall.
这叫水泥还是豆腐渣？100一块，100一块，100一块。
Outer wall cracking. School that was built a year ago, already showing cracks like after an earthquake. Tofu tray construction on doors. A Xiaomi TV falling apart by itself.
搞了个惊喜，小米电视啊，怎么会这样子呢？条线，这个就是所谓的发光条，那它怎么让屏幕整体亮起来呢？
Foam for your wall. Did it rain meteor shower last night? Oh no, it's just buildings falling apart. China is entering the age of prosperity. That's what the CCP is saying. This is the new propaganda video from Chinese state media in partnership with a delivery app. A delivery driver who left her job as a designer is now pursuing food delivery. What a beautifully crafted story. How a woman left her white-collar job, the decency of a pretty good earning, to pursue food delivery. As if everybody would want to do that too. A career change in her 30s. Her excuse? She can capture the scenery on the way, and she can encounter all sorts of different experiences while she delivers her food. Okay, you hear this and you're already thinking, what kind of a BS is this? And that's exactly what I thought too. Now, not to discount the possibility that there's individuals who want to pursue delivery driving as a permanent full-time job, and there's no shame in doing that. But listen to this.
为了欣赏风景嘛。
什么东西是欣赏风景的？啊，那闲的没事的欣赏什么风景？
然后就是网上都说嘛，然后送外卖是为了欣赏风景嘛。
那
我就问你，
那是为了生活，
都为了生活。
No 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 no.
So obviously, we know that any real delivery person who actually depend their livelihood on getting orders has no time to do some scenic routes or take photos or browse on their phone while there's plenty of orders to get around, unless they're waiting, of course. And they do a lot of waiting, considering now that China, you really only get rush hours or rush segments during the lunch and dinner delivery. But that's not the main point. But my main question for this is, who in their right mind at the CCP Censorship Bureau approved this? Right? They had so many levels of censorship. This had to go through like a provincial level approval or the central party approval, propaganda department approval. They all thought that this video, which is completely out of touch with reality, was somehow going to resonate with the Chinese public. It obviously didn't, because the video received a huge amount of backlash and it even became a meme. That's what created a lot of these videos, to ask actual delivery drivers what their life is like. Some people obviously splice together footage from real delivery drivers that they filmed on the street compared to or contrast to that in this video. Like, this is the worst economy China's ever had for over a decade, and you're telling me that that this is what people think that they want to see right now, a fake delivery propaganda? The reality of Chinese delivery is often not some fantasy short drama that you watch on TikTok, but it's, the ones where the female lead actually has a midlife crisis and she switches careers, somehow becomes successful. But real delivery driving is, in China at least, it's mostly a desperate attempt to make money. You have people that have been fired or were laid off from their jobs because the economy is not good, and they had to turn to this so that they at least have some income. You deal with the security guards because they won't let you through to the building or through the gate. You fight off with the kitchen staff because maybe your order's late, and you get punished if your orders are late. You might even run into problems with the people that order the food. Ask any single delivery driver that works for DoorDash or Uber Eats if they're in it for the vibes and the scenic views. Probably not. And especially this whole bizarreness with the delivery thing, because the delivery market is so saturated, there's some strange rules that Chinese institutions or companies have set. For example, in this video, December 1st, Northwest A&F University in Shanxi province, they prohibited food delivery services from entering the college campus because usually you have these security gates. So the food can only be picked up outside of the main gate. So many people just end up leaving the food order on the ground, and what ended up happening is the students will have to come quick in time before the near passing by aunties or uncles that they would just snatch up the food or quote unquote pick up the food. And so this entire thing about delivery in China, it's a whole mess. And it's one where it's not some fantasy story or fantasy land in terms of how great of a job that really is. And this one particularly stood out to me. This is a female delivery driver who lost her glasses. You can see visible damage on her chin and hand. So she likely fell somewhere before this. She's sobbing, she's crying while searching for her delivery order. She probably can't see. There's obviously a sense of urgency here. And the reason is, like I mentioned, in China, the delivery drivers will get punished if your orders are late or if you run into anything that basically causes you to get your deduction in the order, so you make less money. And the pay is already pretty low, by the way. It's not like a few years ago because you have so many orders, right? It also fluctuates with the time and the demand. And so, if it's things like weather or restaurants simply being late with how they cooked it, you're the one who has to suffer that, right? Now, the reason I wanted to make this video and talk about this today is because clearly there's a disconnect, right? The CCP wants this, their slogan, which is, this is the age of prosperity and the sky is the limit. Essentially, it's like their version of the American dream, right? You can do whatever you want. You can be successful no matter where you come from. That's like their version. So the disconnect is they want to make it seem like China is in the age of prosperity. But the reality is often the opposite in China, which is that, welcome to the flourishing age of prosperity, but keep it dreaming, right? It's like to the CCP, spelling out the idea of prosperity is more important than actually helping people achieve prosperity. Now, obviously, this is not like some other countries have done it much better, simply because poverty is always an issue consistent with every country, and every country has wealth disparities, no matter where you go, whether that's in the US or China. But it's just the willingness to admit that when the gap is still real and that there's a huge disparity, And that's okay, right? Being able to admit that. But for the CCP, they won't admit to those things. Pretending like prosperity is real is a very big emphasis, hence why they made that video in the first place. Honestly, like, I think whether we're talking about homeless people on the streets of China, obviously propaganda claims otherwise, there's no homeless people, or whether it's causing misery upon individuals or small business owners by the local government officials because power tripping or whatever the case may be, where does the normal Chinese person go to get help? Well, here is a crazy story recently. This is a scene of a fireworks store exploding with the very last sounding message, a huge explosion saying that I'm fed up. The owner of the shop actually published a video of him drinking the lethal amount that will eventually end him, and it did. Unfortunately, he left behind some letters and the video explaining why he did this. He essentially attributed to the explosion as a sort of a demonstration protest to what the local officials have been doing, which is robbing his livelihood, first of all, causing a lot of the troubles with his store, and also policies that have essentially not been favoring the small businesses. Now, this may seem extreme to some, like you're literally causing more trouble with blowing up a whole building, damage cars, maybe hurt people. But that's the reality in China, which is, where can you go express your frustration? If you want to go protest in public, can't do that. If you want to talk about it on social media, well, censors won't let you do that. You go to Beijing, you go to the petitioning office for the government that they've set up. Well, chances of you being there is very low because they either stop you on your track, they'll have secret police that will tell you or prevent you from going, or they start to surveil you. They find ways to which that you cannot submit those petitions. And also the other thing is, once you do submit those, is it actually going to get addressed? That's another one. So prosperity in China is really based on a fixed set of parameters that not many people can touch. Lower class workers obviously suffer the most direct consequences, like wage cuts, like the suppression of the livelihood, right? So, for example, here in this video, this group of sanitation workers protesting their wage cuts as workload doubled, but wages have been cut by 1 to 2,000 yuan a month. So that's about 250, 300 USD.
我一个月刚发2000都发不起，
你们
我有钱了发不起。
不是你们一个月
This worker here says she barely makes 2,000 yuan a month, and that's about 282 USD. So you might think that, well, that's the low wage class, right? How about the middle class? They've been benefiting from the reform and opening up, definitely experienced prosperity. They were the ones who did for a brief while until the economy got really bad. And because of the economy, many of the middle class people have lost their jobs and they've had to resort to doing food deliveries or otherwise. So after the huge explosion of wealth and things that were looking like it was getting better, obviously after COVID, things changed. But that's not really how it's not benefiting the middle class or how it used to benefit. The reality right now is that prosperity in China is something sort of a dream, right? And for the middle class, they saw a small percentage of success, but the vast majority of it has been almost like it's been funneled to benefit those CCP officials. Here's one example. This is recently small business owners who have shops set up on Douyin, which is TikTok in China. They're protesting outside of the TikTok headquarters because, again, a lot of their wealth or a lot of their issues have not been solved. And this one here, recently, Chinese state media exposed a fake milk formula case. A criminal group in a rented house in Zhongmo County in Henan province used milk essence, which is vegetable fat powder, maltodextrin, and solid beverages to mix inferior fake milk powders, impersonating 14 kinds of imported brands. And these have been sold nationwide through e-commerce platforms, with the amount involved exceeding 6.5 million yuan, or about 920,000 USD. My question to you is, if you think prosperity did hit the middle class, can the middle class avoid things like toxic milk powder or fake fruits or poisonous things, or simply, things that cause a lot of problems with their health? They probably can't, because not everybody can afford to buy imported, like, say, milk powder directly from the US or from Europe, so they buy domestically. So how can you avoid things that are problematic? The issue is, in China, you can't. So under the banner of prosperity, you can pretend like things are okay, but at the end of the day, it's more like the Titanic, right? I would say in general, it's like a sinking ship. It doesn't really matter, if you're dressed in all black, suit and ties, you got the Gucci or the Prada. When you're on that sinking ship, you're no different than somebody like Jack, who maybe snuck on or got lucky and got to be on the Titanic. And I think that's really the big lesson here. It's no matter which class you are, so to speak, prosperity is simply the ship and it's sinking. And the best way to do is obviously realize it early and jump aboard and try to swim to shore, aka, find different ways to rescue yourself, whether that's try to leave China or, try to understand what the situation is. But at the end of the day, when things are down, it's an entire ship. It's not just individuals. All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Hope you enjoy the content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about what's being discussed in this video or your thoughts on the topic. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.